Okay. I want you to use this next story as the canary in the coal mine, because what's happening in Sweden right now, that's exactly what the anti-gun lobby wants to do here in America. You see, you remember that shooting that happened not too long ago in Sweden? Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of you weren't even aware of it because the media here barely talked about it, but yeah.
Overseas now to breaking news where investigators say at least 10 people have been killed in a school shooting at a school in central Sweden.
Now, this happened at a campus located about 125 miles west of Stockholm that serves adults, including immigrants and people with disabilities. Police say they believe that the suspected shooter, they are looking now for a motive.
11 people were killed in a mass shooting at a school in Sweden. Now, before we go any further, let's get one thing straight. Sweden already has every single gun control law that the anti-gun lobby has been pushing here in the US, and yet this school shooting still happened. So now, fast forward a week or two after the shooting, and guess what Sweden is doing now?
In response to the deadliest mass shooting in Sweden's history, the country's right-wing government said it would seek to tighten the nation's gun laws. On a visit to Latvia, Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson said the government was re-evaluating who might receive licenses for weapons and what manner of weapons would be permitted.
It's about tightening up the regulations to get permission to have a weapons license at all. It's about banning certain types of these semi-automatic weapons. And we are also adding a further proposal that the police and the social services need a better opportunity to investigate whether there are medical reasons not to grant a person a gun license.
If you said they were now trying to ban guns and implement even more restrictive gun laws, you would be correct. And this is what I mean by canary in a coal mine, because this is the blueprint for how anti-gunners operate. They never stop at common sense gun control. Their goals have always been to ban guns outright. But hey, they know they can't just say that out loud.
You're crazy!
Now let me break this down for you. Back when Joe Biden was in office, I was telling people over and over the anti-gun lobby doesn't want background checks. They don't want red flag laws. They don't even just want an assault weapons ban. They want to ban guns, period. But they know they can't just say that outright, because if they did, they'd be seen as extreme. And most Americans would push back. But if they say common sense this, common sense that, reasonable this, reasonable that, and then my black ass gets up here and says, no, they really want to ban guns, then who looks extreme? Me. You see, they start small. Background checks, waiting periods, gun registration, just little things that seem reasonable. But then, when that doesn't magically stop crime, because it never does, they say, well, clearly we need more restrictions. Via Sweden, like exactly what's happening there now. They already had gun control. They had all the background checks, mental health evaluations, licensing, registration, everything. And yet, this school shooting still happened. So instead of admitting that gun control doesn't work, what do? They double down.
Double down.
Double down, double down.
They push for even more bans. It's the same thing they want to do here. If gun control works, why didn't it stop this mass shooting in Sweden? And the answer is simple. Criminals don't follow laws. If people actually stopped and thought about what Sweden is doing, they'd realize that gun control isn't about safety, it's about control.
Story about control. My control.
And that's exactly why I use ground news to cut through the media bias. You see, ground news isn't like the usual news apps that just shove whatever biased headline they want in your face. Instead, they show you how different news sources are covering the same story, so you can actually see the bias in real time. With their blind spot feature, you can literally see what stories are being ignored by the left and the right. So if one side refuses to cover a major event like, say, Sweden's gun control disaster, you'll know. Their bias distribution tool shows you whether an article is leaning left, right, or centrist. So you're not just swallowing whatever narrative the media wants to push. And the best part, their Google Chrome extension lets you instantly compare headlines across different sources while you're browsing the web. So next time you see a story, you can check it and see if it's being spun differently somewhere else. Kind of like when two people tell you the same story, but one makes themselves sound like the hero and the other conveniently leaves out the part where they tripped over a curb. Don't just take my word for it. Go to ground.news/Colion to subscribe. If you use my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage subscription, which gives you unlimited access to all of these features. By subscribing, you're getting a better way to read the news, and you're also supporting my work directly. Again, that's ground.news/Colion. Click the link in the description section, subscribe, and start seeing both sides of the news. Now, at what point are we just going to acknowledge that violence can happen anywhere regardless of gun laws? I've done multiple videos on mass casualty events happening in countries where civilians aren't even allowed to carry guns, and every single time the conversation is the same. Ban guns, restrict rights, double down on policies that already failed. This isn't about stopping mass shootings, because if it were, they'd be talking about the real root causes: mental health, societal breakdown, the rise in violent crime. Instead, they focus on the tool, because the real goal has never been about stopping violence. The goal has always been to use the violence as a justification to ban the guns and to take away your ability to defend yourself. So tell me, who's the extremist here? The people who want to protect their rights and their ability to defend themselves when the government can't do it, or the people who keep using tragedy as an excuse to disarm law-abiding citizens?
Message!
Sweden should be a wake-up call. They had strict gun control. It didn't stop the shootings. And now they want even stricter gun control. This is exactly what the anti-gun lobby wants for America. So if you value your right to self-defense, pay attention to Sweden, because this is how it starts. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you're not going to get this kind of perspective anywhere else. As always, stay armed, stay vigilant, and stay free. Oh, and don't forget to click the link in the description section and check out Grand News. Oh, and in case you're wondering where I got this awesome hoodie from, I got it from shop.mrcolionnoir.com. I have them in all 50 states. So go hit the link in the description section. That also takes you to where these hoodies are, and get your own state for yourself. Get your hat while you're at it too. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now, you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together, we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.